It's a known fact in recent times, Zaheer Khan has been India's top-notch performer with the ball. He's been patient, he's been intelligent, he's been aggressive. But with that has come a bag full of injuries. During all of this, the real picture was forgotten, and that being, is India so badly missing Zaheer Khan that Dhoni has lost options? Whom can he turn to at this point in adversity, and what does this mean when the test match progresses? At the end of the day, if Zaheer Khan is not going to be part of it, then don't tell me you'd like to see MS Dhoni coming out there and bowling and then giving Suresh Raina. It's understandable that three bowlers can't do the job of bowling 90 overs, but you've got to find backups and you've got to have a team that has more options.
And
Akash, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you backing the bowler here or are you shielding him? Because the fact is, at the end of the day, you've got to deliver. After Zaheer, you're Ishant Sharma, you're the frontline pacer. Now with keeping into account what Prashant has said and keeping into account what Shobit has said, who is India's frontline bowler after Zaheer Khan in this particular test match? It doesn't look like Harbhajan Singh. It doesn't look like Ishant Sharma. It looks like a Praveen Kumar who's just played 3 test matches and he's doing all the bulk of the damage.
Tell you something, Mikkhail, it doesn't really matter the number of matches you've played or whether it's 3 or 300, because eventually what you do on that day makes you what you are.
Right.
Because if you are hitting the ball in the right areas, you're getting the ball to swing, then you become my lead bowler. It doesn't matter whether he's taken 800 wickets, it doesn't really matter.
Who's the mislead bowler then in this particular test match?
Well, that could be very misleading.
It's fair. Look, it's fair enough for Sanjay, fair enough. He's, at the end of the day, he's trying to put across the time when you don't have Sehwag, you don't have Gambhir. You have just 3 experienced batsmen in Dravid, Tendulkar and Lakshman. Why expose one of them right on top and then make everything in the middle really brittle and weak? Right, that's where the value of a player comes into play. And that's why Rahul Dravid is so very important for this Indian side. He goes and keeps in a test match. He goes and opens in the innings. He goes and scores a century in Lords. He didn't get that in 1995. He got that in 2011. Well, that's Rahul Dravid for you. We'll take a short break. When we come back, of course, much more and the caller of the day as well. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. But how much can we blame Dhoni for what he's done, Mohit? Dekha jaye to he had to do it because they were attacking, they were hitting. They were getting the runs quickly. You've got to stop that. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Dial C for Cricket. I'm Mikkhail Vaswani. The will to win is important, but the will to prepare is vital. Sometimes it's not the celebration in the win, but the fight in the loss that matters. As they say, defeat is not the worst failure. Not to have tried is the true failure.
In my opinion...
So you're saying Dhoni is wrong in that statement?
No, I don't think he's blaming. He's just expressing the kind of schedule they had to go through. See, which is correct,
Mikkhail. It's no use expressing a concern, it's about addressing a concern. And why are you addressing a concern when you're losing? And when you're losing that badly?
Yeah, because he realizes the fact, Mikkhail. I'm not trying to defend Dhoni here.
I have a very deep respect for Michael Clarke and Mitchell Johnson. They have said we don't want our money. I take this money. And he also don't play in IPL.
That's a fair point. He stands justified in his claim at this point in time. So Prashant, are you trying to say that before the IPL auctions, the players shouldn't go under the hammer at all?
Yes, definitely.
What about the replacements that have gone now in place of a Harbhajan Singh and a Yuvraj Singh? Virat Kohli for Yuvraj Singh. You fine with it? So Ramesh, and to Milind as well, fair to say, over a period of time, a Rohit Sharma and a Virat Kohli will be pushing a Suresh Raina and a Yuvraj Singh for a place in the middle order in the test format? Devendra, we get your point. Not that we are not agreeing with you.
I am really against Milan Rege. He is telling about Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma.
But Devendra, you've got to listen. You've got to understand the entire situation right over here. When I tossed the question to Milind Rege, I asked him a Virat Kohli ahead of Rohit Sharma. Then I asked, what about a Badrinath? So when he was talking about the numbers, he was talking about Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. It's only later when we put the graphics of S. Badrinath, that's when he started talking about the fact that yes, he's been an unlucky customer in the Indian domestic setup. In fact, Devendra, I want to... Devendra, listen. No, he's unlucky. I wish I had an answer to that. I wish Mr.
Unlucky because he's been left out.
He's not finding
what more can he do?
Because he's unlucky, because nobody supporting Badrinath.
Yeah, but that's not my call. You see, that's not my call. That's the selector's call.
Devendra, listen. You're supporting Badrinath. I'm supporting Badrinath. Mr. Rege also supporting Badrinath. What is going to happen?
Yeah, let selection
Nothing is going to happen. The selectors need to support. Devendra, the selectors need to support Badrinath. If he's not finding favor in the selectors, what can we do?
Mr. Michael, through media, you should give the vote to Badrinath.
We'll give the vote.
To the selection committee. Let Badrinath be selected.
Devendra, we'll give a unanimous vote tonight by the end of the show.
I am giving unanimous vote. Give from your report. to the selector that
we'll do that.
Online selection through media, Badrinath has been selected. Please give him a chance to perform. He's 31 years.
Devendra, I understand the emotions right now. I understand the emotions right now.
Yeah.
You're feeling victimized, much like an S. Badrinath. You stay on the phone line. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we get you Badrinath's numbers in the test format, and we talk about the fact that why he's been so unlucky, and we'll say that he needs to be included, he needs to be considered, and he needs test selection. Are you fine with that? Devendra, are you fine with that?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Right. Right, we'll take a short break. Devendra is waiting for us on the phone line. We'll discuss about Badrinath on the other side. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. So why not take a gamble if there's been so much of changing done in the batting order in the first two test matches? Why not this time? Abhishek, do you agree with that?
No, I'm very... If the batsman is having a bad day, it is as simple as that.
So Nikhil, are you trying to say... Nikhil, so are you trying to say that this bowling unit is incompetent and incapable of taking 20 wickets in tests?
What I am trying to say is we are so blinded by the fact. Okay, I'm fine with that, but anyone can
you have a point.
Day.
No, you have a very valid point. Why? Nikhil saying why nail the Indian batsman? Why nail the Indian batsman? 224 is not a bad score. No, go tell your bowlers, come on, get them out to somewhere around 250 if you can. Something like that. But he's saying, why can't the Indian bowlers stand up for a change?
That is true. Like I said earlier, what we discussed.
Peterson is coming down to Ishant Sharma and whacking him. I mean, that is no respect to our
That's confidence of a batsman who has a double century in the series. But that also goes to tell the story of the Indian bowlers. They're not bowling to the right length consistently.
Right length, right line is so important.
Mr. Gaikwad, when you say they get discipline, they should get discipline. How do you inculcate that discipline into them?
Well, basically...
By bowling 4 overs in the IPL, you can't inculcate discipline.
Mikkhail, let's understand one thing.
From Allahabad to Aurangabad, now to Hyderabad. Funny joins us. Ranveer, I'll come back to you. But Funny, welcome to Dial C for Cricket. What do you make of the current situation? Do you think India can bounce back in this particular test match?
Well, hi guys. How are you?
Hi. Good evening. I'm good. How are you? We are good, in fact.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Tomorrow, if there's a toss-up between a bowler, if you're leading a side and you have to decide between a bowler who contains and who takes wickets, then whom would you opt for?
Obviously, the bowler who takes wickets, and that's Harbhajan Singh's
So isn't he putting pressure on himself by just being a containing bowler and letting the other bowler go and take wickets? So, say if it's an R. Ashwin. Now, why we're discussing R. Ashwin over here is why is MS Dhoni using him in power plays? Why is he opening the bowling sometimes for India as well? Why is he bowling in a deaths? Why don't we see an Harbhajan Singh? So is it time that now Harbhajan realizes that, listen, I'm losing out on my ODI spot to R. Ashwin. I guess it's going because he seems to be becoming the spearhead of the bowlers.
So we're all always aware of
John, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you talk about the communication factor, how do you view this particular situation where a physio is now being rotated? I mean, at the end of the day, if I have a problem and I confide into you and you tell me, okay, you just listen to me, Mikkhail, you do it this way, you do it this way, follow this. After 6 months, I know you are there, come back to you, okay, there's some kind of improvement. But if you're being rotated after another series, then what's the point in starting off something that's actually stopped? But what do you tell a Parthiv Patel at this point in time? That's the fact. That's the fact.
It's not telling him that you are a wicketkeeper batsman, full stop. You are a number 2 wicketkeeper.
So what was the...
You are in the side...
No, Mr. Malhotra, what was the entire idea of opening with Parthiv Patel then?
No, you didn't have the idea. Your only idea was in case... So if Sehwag and Gautam Gambhir...
And in that case, in the process, he scored runs.
Mikkhail, that is what
He's justified.
Say, in the longer run, Parthiv is not going to fit into your regular 11. Even if he gets 500s. He will still not get it.
How can you say that?
He will not. See...
Are you talking like a selector? Are you talking like a selector?
Yeah, he's a wicket-keeper batsman. He gets into the side as wicket-keeper batsman.
Right.
Mikkhail getting into the side as purely as a batsman.
No, Funny, we understand. We understand you want to reward form and performance, but where do you put a Sachin Tendulkar then?
Number 3.
Oh, you put a Sachin Tendulkar at number 3?
Yeah.
And Rahul Dravid at number 4?
Like, kind of, I won't play Raina because... Okay, fine. He did well in T20.
No, Funny, you can't drop the vice captain. That's been too harsh.
Okay,
you're becoming a Greg Chappell now.
Sajid, you get your fact right, remember.
Okay, Funny, let's get some more perspective from Sajid. Now, Sajid, Funny believes that Suresh Raina, the vice captain, should be out. Dravid at number 4, Tendulkar at number 3, open with Ajinkya Rahane and Parthiv Patel. What are your thoughts, Sajid?
No, actually, Raina should be captain and Dhoni drop himself.
My God, we're getting views of varied proportions over here tonight.
Parthiv Patel and Rahane should open.
Time when most of the Indian bowlers say Munaf Patel is touching 128, 130, much like an Irfan Pathan, then why even crib or talk about Irfan Pathan dropping down on pace? That's my point.
But here we are trying to only compromise. Just because Munaf Patel is bowling at 120, it's no good. Bowling at 120 is no good. He has to bowl faster. And just because somebody else bowls at 119, that doesn't mean that if Munaf is bowling at 119...
No. That's where I want to come back to you, Mr. Rege, and tell you that let's not forget what else he offers. He's a better fielder and a safe pair of hands. He's a much better batsman.
His job in the team is to bowl.
His primary job, yes, but let's not forget the utility factor. If Dhoni today is talking about options, if Dhoni is talking about the fifth bowler option, if Dhoni is talking about the depth in the batting department, a Munaf Patel can bring that, or a Irfan Pathan can bring that. A prince who would one day rule the hearts of the common man. It was the compassionate and passionate Mansoor Ali Khan Pataudi. A personality who would merge generations through his leadership. A man who gave India the belief that they could travel and win. Labelled as the one-eyed hero, he was indeed Tiger Pataudi. A batsman who was boldly adventurous and unorthodox for his times. Fearless Pataudi was always unafraid and daring when challenged in the middle. A man who taught independent India that cricket was not a sport for leisure, but a game to be won. Poise, panache and perfection, Tiger had it all. A leader who would instill belief and faith in his fellow mates. A strong mind, a great captain, and an affable human being. He walked the talk and showed the way to Indian cricket. Sadly, not many have seen him play, but his legendary status is etched in memory. A thorough gentleman who brought a touch of heroism into Indian cricket. The Prince Charming would soon bowl over a maiden. He wasn't just the Nawab of Pataudi, he wasn't just a tiger, he was the right attitude Indian cricket had. A visionary who was determined to change Indian cricket. Abject surrender to him was simply unacceptable. A strong voice in Indian cricket, he lived life king size. He was a man who showed the way to Indian cricket. He was the man who told Indian cricket that we are here to stay. The legend shall live in the heart of every cricket fan. The year is 1997 and West Indies is playing Australia at Perth. Their captain is injured, he's tore a hamstring, but all he tells his doctor is that I want to play the next day. The doctor tells it's going to be really tough, but he says I'm going to keep you awake all night, but the fact remains is I want to go out there and bowl flat out at the Australians. Well, the doctor stays up all night nursing that particular tore hamstring, but then next day he comes on to bowl. The doctor is circumspect about what's going to happen. That's because he believes this gentleman can bowl only a few overs, but he goes out there and bowls 20 overs on the trot, and Australia lose the match and West Indies wins the match. Such is the legend of, rather legendary status of the great Courtney Walsh, and this is why he'll be best remembered for his commitment and effort in the middle. Every time he walked into the middle, he went out there and gave his best. Over 5,000 overs, 519 test wickets and 132 test matches. It is so very wonderful to have such a great personality in the studios of Dial C for Cricket. Well, it's a special evening tonight on Dial C for Cricket. We are with one of the finest cricketers in world cricket who's gone out there and set a legendary status and example and left behind a legacy for which everybody today will look up to and also tread the same path. With me tonight on Dial C for Cricket is Courtney Andrew Walsh. Courtney, good to have had you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Courtney, it's believed that on Sunday afternoons, when your mummy used to think that you're going to the church, you used to go out there and play cricket quietly. She always thought her son would be an accountant someday, but he ended up being one of the best bowlers in world cricket.
I was actually in the church, but I'd leave early. I always go in Sunday morning and get what needs to be done, and then the games, in those days, the game would start 12 or 1 o'clock, so I'd go early to the church, do what I have to do, and try to get out so I can get a game of cricket.
Right, and you started off as a spinner, if I'm not mistaken, but then you realized that, okay, I should be bowling fast. Right, we are just building up to what's promised to be an exciting show tonight on Dial C for Cricket. Everything about fast bowling, the art of fast bowling. We also talk about the Indian pacers, the West Indies pacers, from a legend himself who's really gone out there and probably mesmerized everybody by his style, by his composure, by the fact that he's taken 519 wickets in 132 test matches. We'll take a short break, but when we come back, much more with Courtney Walsh. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Dial C for Cricket. I'm Mikkhail Vaswani. So far in the Test series, Ashwin has taken 17 wickets. He's the highest wicket taker at the moment. On day 2, he was the best bowler on display for India in terms of the wickets tally. That's because he finished with 4 for 154. So if he's been the impressive bowler, he's still left disappointed by the pitch. So Mr. Naik, what's your reply? Then what's your reply to this? If an Ashwin is saying he's been cheated by the bounce in Wankhede, what's your reply?
The bounce is there. He is not cheated.
Because here Mr. Sabakarim also says he's been disheartened by a sporting wicket which Wankhede once offered. It's not offering. Sabha, would you like to talk to Sudhir Naik?
Yes, sir. I mean, normally what one has seen at the Wankhede wicket is it has some kind of bounce and some lateral movement for the pace bowler.
And what do you have to say about the pitch? Ashwin says that he's been left disappointed and disheartened and that he feels cheated on the bounce not being there.
I don't think it's very fair on the part of Ashwin to make such comments so early at the time when he's just started his international career.
Milind, finally to you, firstly, what's the harm if Ashwin just in his 3rd test can go out there and make his point? You mentioned sometime back that it's too early for him to come outside and lash out at the pitch. Mr. Rajput, now it's good that Zahir Khan is playing for Mumbai. It's very important that Mumbai has players like Zahir Khan playing. But why is Zahir Khan playing? Because he wants to prove his fitness.
Because the board has said that he has to play 2 games.
Because the board has said that, exactly. Can a player not take the initiative if he's so worried about Mumbai cricket? If he feels that the selectors and coach are taking Mumbai cricket down, then why can't he voluntarily, whenever free, given a chance, go play for Mumbai cricket? It's only because the board has told Zahir Khan to play cricket.
Not really. It's not the question because Zahir and Sachin have played for Mumbai whenever they are free.
So lashing out at the selector. His job is to select 15, not the 11. So when a Zahir Khan says that they're bringing Mumbai cricket down, and when you read the newspaper and read the quote saying that a Milind Rege and a Sulakshan Kulkarni are bringing Mumbai cricket down, what's your first assessment
totally
of that
wrong
question?
Because no one can ever talk about the selectors because selectors.
That's questioning the integrity of Milind Rege and a Sulakshan Kulkarni.
I totally feel that such comments should not have come. But again, I am saying tomorrow if Zahir Khan says that he has not said, then what happens?
He's been quoted. No responsible daily will carry. No responsibility. Then we are questioning the integrity of the journalist and the journalists.
People twist and write, boss. I am telling you, we have gone through this. That's why, because MCA will always have a thorough inquiry in it. And I think once the inquiry comes, then we'll come to know what are the facts and figure, because that's what we really want. I don't think so, because there are a lot of times in the press, media comes, people are saying blah blah blah, but when it comes that we have not said.
Mr. Rajput, to a certain extent, probably you're questioning the integrity of the press at this point in time. But if Zahir, yes, you're saying you're questioning it.
Yeah, because most of the time, yes, because it has happened to me also. Because it has happened, whatever you say, it's been twisted and given the press.
On Dial C, nothing will be twisted.
Because I'm speaking for myself.
Mr. Rajput, if Zahir Khan has made that statement, has he crossed the line?
See, again I say, we cannot presume things that if he has said, because it has to be proved whether he has said it or not, because I personally will not go by the media.
He's saying, being an Indian cricketer, having contributed so much for Mumbai cricket, I should have been informed earlier. Had that been the case, I would not have travelled on the Mumbai side and played Orissa in Orissa. Is that a fair assessment of a player?
If that is the case, if he was informed one day earlier, see, only thing if he was disappointed, but not the right thing that he has left the touring party in between. Because when you are a part of the 15, not necessarily you're going to be a part of the 11. There are many occasions when a good cricketer...
So Balaji, are you trying to say, however big the player you are, the fact is, you've got to be part of the 15, and if you're not part of the 11, you still have to be part of the 15.
Definitely.
Yeah, we have with us Mr. Lalchand Rajput, Mr. Clayton. That quote of Zahir Khan's, where he slammed the Mumbai selector and the coach. To a certain extent, Mr. Rajput is not pretty convinced about the authenticity of the quote and the article. Could you shed some more light into it, please?
Well, I can't help it if someone does not believe the article. I have no say in this. I cannot force people to believe.
Right. But on your side,
yeah, Clayton, I'll just clarify. I said that they are saying that it has come in the midday. I only said that first we got to call Mr. Zahir Khan and ask him whether he has said, and then take a decision. Because I am not against what comes into the press, and people, those who want to believe, they believe it. Those who don't want to believe, they don't believe it. But I am only with Zahir Khan that whether he has said, if he has said, the action should be taken. If he has not said, then we have to call for
Mr. Clayton, you would not put anything in your newspaper unless and until a cricketer has said something. I'm sure you would not like to fabricate any fact.
Well, you said it for me, so I can't say much now.
Right, Mr. Clayton. So this is what you want to say in your defense.
There is no question of defense. I have got a story. I spoke to Zahir Khan last night and I put out the story. There is no question of my defense coming into it.
Right. He's spoken to Zahir, he says. This is what Zahir told him and this is what he's put.
Yeah, so that's his version. So that's what
he
has written. So I am only saying that the MCA should still have an inquiry what has been said, what he has said, even for Ajit Agar, why he has come, and then take a decision.
Right. Mr. Clayton, we all growing up have read a lot about your articles, you read a lot about your interviews, and of course you are a reputed and respected journalist today in cricket, Indian cricket and world cricket. So when somebody, if I have to question you and your articles about saying that I'm really not sure whether probably this is Zahir Khan's quote going in the newspaper, what would your reply be to me, Mr. Clayton?
Well, there could be a lot of misunderstandings if I say something on air. Because I'm just acting on assumption and a few words which you have told me and a few words which Lalchand Rajput has told me.
Right.
So what I would like to say is if MCA needs any clarification or any proof, I'd be happy to provide it.
Right, thank you. That's it, Mr. Clayton. We just needed your version.
Cricket.
Right, Mr. Clayton. Right, Mr. Clayton. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your views. Much appreciated. Ron, when you look back, it's Parthiv got 12 runs in 18 balls. He failed in the first ODI. You know, he's got 2 more chances in the second and third. Is time running out for Parthiv Patel? If that's my question to you. Right, Venkat from New Delhi. Good evening. Welcome to Dial C for Cricket. Is this a make or break series for Ishant Sharma? He's looked good, but he's looked good in patches. Zahir Khan has been injured at times and he's been out, and then the mantle has shifted always to Ishant Sharma. Does he look good enough to become the leader of the pack as well, Venkat?
Good evening, first of all. And you know,
right, Venkat, I like that point where you mentioned it all goes down to that one spell. Now, Chetan, I'd like to bring you as well into the conversation. Venkat says it goes down to that one spell in Australia. Would you always want to go back to that one spell when you talk about Ishant Sharma, or you want to look forward as well?
For the one days,
absolutely.
And if the wickets, you see, it depends how they are playing.
Let's not get into the wickets right now. We're talking about the two individuals.
You have to select a team according to
When it comes to bowlers, Milind, we can talk about wickets, but
no, even batting.
Yuvraj Singh is eyeing the try series in Australia. If he comes back, then
I would definitely not give him the full chances until he proves his fitness fully. Because until Yuvraj Singh proves his fitness,
what if he's fit, Balaji? What if he's fit?
Huh?
What if Yuvraj is fit and ready to play in the 11?
Definitely, I would not. It all depends on Dhoni's confidence. If Dhoni is confident of giving Yuvraj a chance...
But why will Dhoni... Balaji, we have your point. Manish, why will Dhoni not be confident in a Yuvraj Singh to play him in the playing 11 who's won him the World Cup? But Sudesh, what you mentioned is we can have a very interesting angle to it. Now, he says... We look so good in our batting that even our reserves are capable of replacing our seniors. But when it comes to bowling, we don't have that bowling reserve who looks good enough to say, okay, Zahir, you sit out, I will take over. Now, that's a good point, Sudesh. I'm with you. Yeah, Sudesh.
I want Rohit Sharma to play in the 11.
In place of?
Let's say VVS Lakshman as of now.
In Australia, okay.
In spite of VVS Lakshman's great track record against Australia.
Okay, Sudesh, this is for you. This is for you.
Just a second.
One second. Before you go, I have to tell you this. Sudesh, VVS Lakshman's career average is 47.13 and his average in Australia is 54.05. Would you still want to replace him with Rohit Sharma in the playing 11? I guess Sudesh has flown to Australia, I guess, to sort the entire matter out. But Sudesh, yeah, you have a point, but it's not been received fully by Milind Rege over here.
I completely disagree.
Right, completely disagree.
You cannot hope that a great player or a legend can get injured. You cannot say, I don't think it's right to leave out Lakshman, whose track record is fantastic.
And also, Sudesh, to speak in your defense, it's very nice to see that you want both the youngsters to be groomed. They have been groomed very well. They've played all their practice games and they're looking good, and they've been taken to Australia in the first place. That's a very positive and encouraging sign. We'll head into a short break. When we come back, lots more on the other side. Stay tuned.